guys, it is Carl Brown for GuitarLessons365.com. Have a great one for you today. We're going to learn how to do Sappy by Nirvana. So this one's pretty easy, but it's got a pretty cool solo by Kurt Cobain in it as well. So it's a pretty extended solo for him, so it's pretty fun to play. So we're going to go through that one as well. Before I do, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell so you'll know when I release a new video. And of course, check out my Guitar Academy, please. You'll see a link in the description giving you a 7-day free trial to my Guitar Academy that contains all my guitar courses covering many different subjects, including from a complete beginner course to more advanced courses in technique and improvisation and ear training and theory and guitar tone. So please go check it out and get your free trial by clicking the link below. So let's jump into this. I'm tuned down a half step. So this half step, I'll put the notes in the description there, but it's an E flat on the E flat. That's good. I use an E flat string. E flat. The fat E string is tuned down a half step to E flat. And then A flat, D flat, G flat, B flat, E flat. So every string down a half step and you'll be good to go. All right, so we basically have 2 chord progressions that we're going to do. And then that solo that I promised. So let's get the chord progressions out of the way first. So you're going to see him start out with the kind of typical kind of Nirvana where they kick in with a clean version of the riff. So that's going to start with a D. It's really mostly a D power chord, but you're going to hear the open high E string in there as well, which will make it a D sus2 chord. So it doesn't matter if you hit it. He kind of hits it randomly throughout the song. Sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes you do hear that high E in there. So that's the open D string, 2nd fret on the G, 3rd fret on the B, and the high E like we just mentioned. So, but really, he's focusing on the D, G, and the B string. All right, then he goes to a B flat. So now he typically plays a kind of a full major chords when he plays power chord instead of just power chords. So he has this 1st fret there on the A string, and then the 3rd fret across the D, G, and the B. Let's try this. From there, he goes to a very unique way that he likes to play a G power chord, which is like this. So what that is the 3rd fret on the low E string, and he's able to mute the A string with the bottom of his index finger. So that's what he's doing. So mute that string. Then we have the open D, open G, and very important, open B, which actually makes it a G major chord, not a power chord. And then the 3rd fret on the high E string. So you can hear that B string in there. So you got to make sure you're doing that version instead of like that. You can play it like that or like he does, whatever. So we have this. All right, then you're going to jump over to the A major chord. So that's the open A string, and then I'm borrowing the 2nd fret across the D, G, and the B. Once again, you can play that like this maybe. I think he does that as well, so he can get the open high E in there if he wants, or you can do it as a bar. So whatever way you like playing an A major. So we have this. So after that A major, we go back to that B flat, and then move it up 2 frets there to the C. Now, you'll also hear him, especially a lot live, but a little bit on the recording as well. When he's doing these bar chords off the A string, a lot of times he'll put the 5th in the bass as well. So we have this B flat here, right? He will take and play the 1st fret across the A and the low E together. And then do the same thing up here. So you're putting the 5th of the chord in the bass. So don't do it all the time. Sometimes it sounds kind of forced, but you can kind of hear it, especially when he plays live. He'll add that note in there just to kind of thicken up the sound a little bit. So that's the riff that starts the track one time through with a clean, and then it kicks into the distortion. All right, so I'm also going to answer this question because I get it all the time, especially with, you know, if it's a video that there might be some more kind of beginner guitar players watching, is I was able to switch to that distortion because of a pedal that I'm clicking. It's not a technique thing. I know there's people out there who are like, of course that's the case. If you're just starting out in guitar, you don't know that. So it's a pedal. He basically kicks in a distortion pedal or changes the channel on his amp to the gain channel. That is what the difference in the sound is. It's not an actual way you play it differently. So I know it sounds stupid to people, but it is true. It does confuse people who are just starting out. So that's what's going on. You just need to get a pedal that'll do it for you. All right, so that's the first riff. And then the next riff is pretty similar. We have this. All right, so you're using a lot of the same chords. So we start with that D or the D sus. You hit that high E in there. Kind of holding it a little bit longer. Then that B flat to the G major there. Back to the B flat. Back to the G. So now it's going to rotate between the G and the B flat a few times. So as soon as you get to that D to B flat, right? Then you go down to the G, B flat, G, B flat, G, B flat. You do it 3 times. So you have the first 2 chords, D and B flat. Now starting here, G to B flat 3 times. And then after that, just end it with that A major chord. All right, so now you're just going to repeat those progressions throughout the track. Pretty easy, verse, chorus, which I think was actually, I saw my little internet research I do for these songs. That used to be the name of the song, verse, chorus, something like that. So, but now it's just mostly known as Sappy. So now we're going to do Kurt Cobain's solo, which is one of the most, kind of extended solos, like, probably the coolest solo that I've heard him do. So let me play through it for you real quick, and then we'll check it out note for note. So it's got some cool, mostly pentatonic based stuff in it. So we're going to start with this first phrase. So we're going to start here. It's funny, this is like one of those lead patterns. You'll get a lot in like kind of the in some books that are kind of entry level kind of improvisation. It's like connecting the boxes for them. So you might actually have seen this type of a lick before. So we're starting here, kind of hammering 3 to 5 on the A, then 3-5 on the D, then slide up to 7. And then you're going to hammer 5 to 7 again. Then over to the 5th fret there on the G string. And then hammer on 7 and pick that a few times. And then slide that up to the 9th fret there on the G. So what that was a little half step bend at the 9th fret. And then back down to the, and then you pick the 7 a few times. Actually just kind of once. And then back to the bend there at the 9th fret. Release that bend and then pick 7 a few times. So we have this, I'll play it slow. All right, from there we have this. So that kind of starts on the 7th fret there on the low E string, and then you kind of do a hammer onto the 8, and then pick that 8 again, and then slide down 7 to 5. And then slide down 5 to 3. Then you pick it a couple times. So you gotta really kind of know the melodies that he's playing so you can kind of just time it right with him. So right there, I kind of then slid down 3 to 1, and then went back to the 3 and a slight little bend on it, and then back down to 1. So with this. And then we basically just work our way back up the scale. 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12. So all right, now, so once we get up there to the 12th fret, we do this. So we have this. You're gonna do a half step bend and release at the 12th fret on the low E, down to 10 on the low E, over to 12 on the A string, then up 14. 15 and 17. Then up to 15, 17, and then back down to 15. A little bit more. He doesn't do quite that much. So he ends up just kind of messing around with these between those two notes, and then he does bend and release at the 17th on the D, over to the 15 on the over to 17 on the A. Like that, and then over here to the 14th fret on the D string. And so that's a half step bend on the 14th fret on the D. Release, and then down to the 12th fret. Now those half step bends that he's doing are typically the most difficult bends to get into tune. So, because they're just really small, really kind of delicate bends. So, and hearing that half step in tune is kind of the difficult. So it's probably going to be the hardest part in the song for in the solo. All right. So now after that we have this. All right, so that's gonna, you're at the 12th fret already, so you play that. You go slide up to 14, and then hammer on the 15th fret. then back down to 14, and you do a quick little pick 14, hammer on 15, pull off, and then slide down to 12. So we have this. All right, and then hammer on the 14. And then we start to slide down. I've picked the 14 a couple times, by the way. So after that hammer on the 14, you're gonna then slide. I picked it 12 a couple times, slide down to 10. This is all gonna go down the D string. Then pick 10, slide down to 9. Pick 9, slide down to 7. Pick 7, slide down to 5. Pick 5, slide down to 3. So as soon as you get here, as soon as you get down to that 9, you just kind of follow the dots. If you know, most fret markers or guitars are 9, 7, 5, 3. So. We're back to the same old chord progressions. All right, so it's a fun track to get. It's got a really cool solo in it, and as a couple of really great chord progressions. It's a really melodic song. So hopefully you've heard it before. I know it's not one of their biggest hits, but it's definitely kind of becoming a kind of a fan favorite, and I get a lot of requests for it. So I decided to jump on it. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.